Hi, friends. My name is Bhavya Mangla. I welcome you again in this episode with respect to Unfiltered Conversation. We started this series 26 episodes back with the intention of talking to people and understand their perspective about different aspects of life. We started this series in the beginning where we talked with respect to public speaking. Later on, we talked about mindfulness. And after that, the previous series was primarily about the writers who are writing the book and what is their mindset about it. Now, November is a quality month. So it is an appropriate month to talk more with respect to quality, not only with respect to the quality of product, but quality of life that we are living and anything with respect to the quality. In this episode, there's a very, very interesting guest. His name is Mr. Rajinder Singh. He is Managing Director and Chief Mentor for a FESO Consulting Company. He has a long and distinguished career, more than 38 years in industry. And he has transformed so many companies with his vision, with his thought process. And he's a master in lean thinking, Six Sigma, and with respect to the business transformation. One very good aspect about Mr. Rajinder Singh is that he makes the things so simpler that this particular quote that you have to eat the elephant but slice by slice. I think this quote is very much appropriate to him. So let me call on Mike, Mr. Rajinder Singh. Mr. Singh, how are you doing?
Hello, Namaskar. How are
Namaskar.
you, Bhaveji? Thanks very much for inviting me for this chat. Uh, I really appreciate.
Mr. Singh, this topic, scientific thinking for creating excellence, seems to be a very intriguing topic. Any idea that why exactly we decided about this topic to talk on?
See, this is not something new, but it originated uh, some time back by in the thinking of scholars. Scientific thinking, as you know, has been around since ages. But what is intriguing about this is that it merges operational excellence, problem solving, continuous improvement, organizing with a scientific process of thinking. What happened, and I have been a very passionate student of lean manufacturing and lean thinking. As you know, I have been very much trying to understand. And one of the companies which have been very inspiring companies for us was Toyota. So I have been sort of understanding how Toyota has been sort of developing with such consistent, excellent performance over years. And meanwhile, while we were thinking about tools like Kanban system, supermarket, value stream mapping, Kaizen, continuous improvement, a series of researchers in US were actually trying to find out what was underneath these tools and systems. Why is it that we bring these tools and systems from to other companies and they fail? They don't really they give results, but not the excellent results which we are talking about, and they are not sustained over a period of time. So what was
Mhm.
that? So uh, there was a lot of thinking going on that in that area, and I was also sort of fascinated to understand what is going on. So I've been following those scholars also for some time, and then the books started coming out. We got a book which was called Toyota Kata, for example, by Mike Rother, uh, a brilliant author on this, and then followed by various other books around this topic, where they really debugged and decoded what is behind all these tools and systems what is that thinking which is behind that, and how does Toyota actually teach that thinking to their uh, employees and managers and everybody, so that it remains continuously in an entrepreneurial mode. Means it's
Mhm.
always people are innovating, creating, experimenting, developing new systems, so that the company is progressing in that. So that actually was the beginning of where all this came about. And it's the book is about Toyota Kata, and Kata is a practice. We can talk about little bit about that later on. But the real interest of today's topic is about scientific thinking to really excel, to create
Mhm.
an organization which produces results continuously, which supersede expectations and needs without adding waste in that system or inefficiency. So that's the intention, and that's a very powerful thing. So whatever tools you use, whatever this, it's a way of thinking. nothing else.
But when we say with respect to scientific thinking, what does it mean? What exactly it denotes? Because sometimes when we talk the word scientific, people think about some very complex thing. So are you
Yeah.
talking something very complex or something easy? Because I
No,
know
no,
that you always speak very easy things.
no, no, it's very, very simple. But since its root is in scientific way of experimentation, everybody start calling it scientific thinking. But it's a way of approaching any problem. Means approaching and trying to solve a problem rather than guessing and trying to brainstorm and try to come up solutions based on our experience, our knowledge. There we we want to focus on real facts and data, understand the data, understand the facts, and then make conclusions around this. Do some experiment to really prove or disprove your hypothesis, and then come up with the learning. So it's a very powerful way, I would say, of learning to
Mhm,
to
mhm.
be, and that learning is then resulting in the excellence in the companies. So in traditional way, if I have to sort of distinguish,
Yeah,
the very important point is about jumping to conclusion. Means we jump to conclusion, everybody. And in our organizations we see that the boss is the higher in the organization a person is, they feel that it is their responsibility to give immediate answers. So they,
yeah.
when you come with a problem, they just give you an answer. This is that. So we also start jumping to conclusion, but that doesn't solve problems. That lead to sort of sometime elimination of symptoms, like you told in a previous your podcast. But the the uh, facts again come back. They don't sustain because you have not killed the root cause, because you never came and understood what was the real root cause of the problem. And it can be at a
Mhm.
business level, it can be at organizational level, family level, personal level, a quality problem in a production shop, a maintenance problem in a maintenance area, or a production area. So it can be applied. This is a sort of thinking which can be applied to make it very systematic, data driven, analytical approach. So that's primarily a big difference between traditionally solving problems and scientifically solving problems.
But if you really think that it's very easy to implement and it's very easy to, get the results that we are looking for, then why it is so that we are always going for those things which come very easy to us and not the thing which are right to us? Because I think this is a very common thing, jumping to the conclusion. We always say that I know the answer, and then we go back.
See, now this is, you're leading to a very, very interesting sort of area, because this is how we are designed. And
Hmm.
our creator has designed us in a way that we survive because we jump to conclusion. Throughout the day, when we say walk or we drive, uh, every decision we take is because our brain tells us that it is the right thing to do. See, the issue is this, that our brain is a complex organizer, organ in our body. It's only maybe 2% of the body weight. Okay,
Hmm.
so if you are 70 kg, it's around 1.5 kg. That's it.
Hmm.
And but it consumes around 25% of your daily energy thing. So whatever energy you consume every day, 25% of that energy is consumed by this 2% of your body. Imagine, this is like a big energy consuming device in in your system. So, and as you know, the principles of nature is that it needs to converge energy. It doesn't want to sort of open everything to this. So the more the processing this brain does, the more energy it will consume. Okay, so what happens is, the way brain works is, it starts storing a lot of our experiences from the time we are born. Lot of our experiences, our things, what is happening to us starts storing in our brain. Now this is what we call as, we build a neural library, okay,
Yeah.
inside our brain. So whenever
Mhm.
our brain gets a signal from various organs like skin, our eyes, our ears, our nose. It immediately compares it with the whatever is there in the neural our library, and then
Yeah.
tells us that this is the conclusion on that. And this is such a powerful thing because it conserves energy, but it also helps us survive throughout our day. Okay, our life. But the problem is, many a time this is not correct.
Mm-hmm.
Is it?
Mm-hmm.
So because it is based on the past, that doesn't mean the future is also like this. Means imagine, uh, what can I give you an example? Means imagine you there you have somebody you meet, uh, and you recognize, or you talk to, and you feel you talk to them and you know them,
Yeah.
but you are unaware of that they have a twin, identical twin. Okay.
Mm.
Now, by chance, if now you meet an identical twin, you have Ram and a Sham, say example.
Yeah.
Immediately your brain will tell you this is Ram. Okay. And you will believe that it is Ram till maybe he shows some other, he talks to you or tells you that it is not there. But the brain has immediately concluded. So the brain's conclusion is not right because that person is not Ram, that is Sham. No. And that can only be confirmed whether it is Ram or not when you talk to them and ask his name, assuming
True.
that they are very identical and it's very difficult to identify
Mm-hmm.
them, isn't it? So similarly, brain actually gives us a lot of clues and thinking which may not be correct. That is the fundamental of scientific thinking, which says
Mm-hmm.
that whatever we are understanding, whatever our brain is trying to convince us, might not be right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
and for if once we think like that, we will have a ability and say, okay, let us find out what is right, rather than trying to
Mm-hmm.
prove what we know is right. We will go into there, and that is what is the power of this scientific thinking. Because now we say, okay, we don't know. Let us ask. Okay, let us
But
go and
Mr.
find
Singh,
out.
yeah, this brings two very interesting points. The first thing is you're talking more about human dynamics at the moment. That because end of the day, whatever excellence we are talking about, scientific thinking we are talking about, it's all the humans who have to do. So human aspect comes into picture, that how they are doing it, why they are doing it. But then second aspect is that when you're talking about neural library, or we also call it as a subconscious mind. But if you're not believing in our library, then whom we should believe? And
No,
how
no.
do we know that whether that library is right or wrong? It may be right also.
See, it's not a question of right or wrong. Because of that neural library, we survive. I'll tell you very simple examples because you told me to simplify this thing. But
Yeah.
see, every moment in your life, you are able to survive because you have this experience sharing library, and your brain tells you that it's right. See, when I am moving, I give a typical example. I'm moving. I am taking a step means I am why am I so confident that I will not fall on the next step?
Mm-hmm.
Means my brain has convinced me that the next step, I have been here, I have seen it, it will be safe, that the ground is solid, you go down. There is no evidence other than my network library, neural library.
Sure, sure, sure.
Tomorrow if somebody digs a hole under it and just covers it paper which looks similar, I have no reason I will fall down. No, because my brain will
Yeah,
still tell me that is same.
yeah.
I am trying to prevent that falling down in
Mm-hmm.
cases which it becomes critical.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
See, this is extremely important for problem solvers and continuous improvement persons. That's why people have to learn this. There is a something which we call as knowledge threshold. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
knowledge threshold is that limit of our knowledge before which we are very sure things are, we know the actual, but
Yeah.
everything after that uh, threshold is our assumption, and we make a lot of assumptions. Our brain just jumps to conclusion. Again, like
Mm-hmm.
typical example I gave you, I if you are walking out from a room into a corridor, okay, which is perpendicular to your door. Typically, we
Yeah.
will get out and walk left. Okay.
Yeah.
Why did we do that? We don't know what is in the left. No, is there could be a wall, there could be some person standing, there could be something, and we could have hit, but we have walked out because our brain convinced us that there's nothing. Go. But if we are hit by somebody, next time it will not tell you. It will tell you, no, 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 there might be something. Please look.
Something like a child, we can say that when a child is very small, it does not understand what is hot and what is cold. And if that child puts something, hand in the hot water, then he realize, okay, he or she realize, oh, next time I need to be careful.
Because they have not got that neural library still built in. They are
Hmm.
building. The
Yeah.
experiences they will have will determine how they will solve problem in their future.
Hmm. Hmm.
It's,
Hmm.
it's,
Hmm.
it's interesting. The idea what we are trying to share today is that we should be aware that this is there. We don't have to use it every time. But in a critical situation, in a complex problem solving solution, the situation where today's industries are, organizations are, where things are very complicated, we cannot, in many
Hmm.
situations, rely only on our past experiences. We have to go forward and we have to experiment and learn. Because, as we always say, that the learning is happening between what we expect to happen and what actually happened. The gap between that is the zone where we learn. Okay,
Hmm.
suppose
Hmm.
you say that today it will rain. Okay,
Yeah.
but it did not rain. Okay, now there is a gap between what you thought will happen and what actually happened. So
Yeah.
there is a knowledge, then you will go ahead and try to find out, with all the clouds, whatever I know, it should have rained, but why did it not rain? So there must be another variable in the system which has prevented the rain to happen. So this is where
Hmm.
you learn now,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah.
But if everything starts happening as per you, then there is no learning.
True.
So it's important to understand that not knowing about things is also okay, because that gives us an ability to go and find out. And just to conclude this process, I'll tell you a very important
Yeah.
fact. Means in our cultures, in our culture primarily, if suppose there is a breakdown in machine,
Yeah.
okay, or there is a defective bottle produced in a shampoo filling machine, when the supervisor tells the boss asks, why did it uh, got this, or label, why label is missing on this bottle? And the if the imagine an engineer saying, sir, I don't know. How will be the reaction of that uh,
The
boss?
boss is very angry and maybe shout or
Shout and say, no, you are
yeah.
useless. In
Yeah.
Japan, the bosses are expecting this. When person says, I don't know, the boss will say, oh, good. You have come to a stage where you can now learn. So how will you find out what is the problem? So he says, oh, I have decided to do this experiment. I am going to observe. I will do like 3G, 5G, go to Gamba. I will observe and I will see which bottles are not having label, how many bottles are having label, how many are not there. Is there a repetition? Is there a particular station which has this problem? So I am going to do this experiment. So I don't have any data. By next time I meet you, I will have that data. Boss will say, go, this is that. So follow 3G, go to Gampa, understand this. So what is happening is now the bosses are encouraging scientific thinking, trying to find facts, and this ability, if happens around the organization, is the source of excellence which we are talking about.
Now, this particular word excellence, what exactly is the meaning? How do we say that, I did excellence in this, or this I should be considered as something better than the routine thing what I'm doing so far?
See,
What
yeah,
is the
means
criteria?
yeah, with excellence, if you see in the context of organizational excellence, is about achieving results consistently over a longer period of time, which supersede or exceed necessaries or expectations. Okay, you are
Mhm.
always sort of getting results, and results could be financial, could be organization, human dynamics, could be any results which the organization is striving to achieve. But if you are achieving consistently good results over a period of time without adding all inefficiencies, waste in the system, we consider a company to be an excellence. That is for our a working definition for excellence. So we want to go there, and that is a continuous process. Means, and the scientific process is step by step process. So we go from one to second to third to fourth to fifth, and I can give you some example.
Yeah, this is in fact the logical next question is that now we understood that it is important. But the next step is that how to develop that thinking of scientific mindset, and which can lead us to do something which is not routine, but it can lead to something much more beyond that what we are doing so far.
Yeah, means there is a lot of work being done on this thing, and one of the book which I can recommend people is a very in 2009 came it came out in 2009. Then there was a workbook, and there are many others. But still, I love this old book by Mike Rother, which talks about Toyota Kata. Okay, this is a book Toyota Kata, and it's I can show you the book also, like the Toyota Kata, and it says managing people for improvement, adaptiveness, and superior results. In
Mhm.
this is the first book which came out by the author who actually wrote Learning to See Value Stream Mapping, if you remember that, Mike Rother. So he has given a sequence on how to create, understand, and implement scientific thinking in your organization. So there are two parts of this. One is improvement kata. Kata actually means a routine. Okay, kata is like coming from the martial art, from kung fu and from karate, where kata
Yeah.
is actually when people practice a particular sort of a move. Okay, so
Mhm.
that the repetition, and what we talk about, a deliberate repetition of a or practice of certain things will help you implement that. So kata comes from there. So this, how do you develop this scientific thinking, is under a coaching, under a guide. You definitely need a guru, a guide, or a coach who should help you develop this thinking, which is counterintuitive to the way we typically are under there.
Mhm.
So with practice, it is coming. So when the bosses, like in Japanese companies, when they start not appreciating just the result, but also the process where the how the results have been got, and if they encourage people to say, I don't know, let me go and find, rather than trying to give you a solution which may be half cooked or not right at this point of time, and not based on facts and figures. So they're trying to tell you something. So when the bosses say it's okay to be not knowing because we don't know everything, so let us go out and find, because if you know, you should go and solve the problem. Why should you be doing problem solving in the first place? You should be implementing that. So then we need to teach people how to do that, and there is a very structured process which is there on this. And it can be as simple as YY analysis. If you think, let me talk. Most people in
Mhm.
this audiences of this might know YY analysis. YY
Yeah.
is a scientific way of solving problem, although the way we implement in our organization is very hypothetical. It's meant to please the bosses, because people come with the mindset, the bosses, I know the solution, you tell me why this is happening, and people have to do why till it matches the thinking of the boss, which may be entirely wrong. I'm not
Yeah.
talking about
Yeah.
that why problem, and neither blaming somebody. But if you see what is the why is actually a step by step creation of hypotheses, and then doing experiment to prove or disprove the hypothesis. So you say, okay, my uh, pump blew off, or hydraulic pump blew off. Now, why did
Yeah.
it blow off? It could be because now you have to hypothesize based on your knowledge. You say,
Yeah.
okay, because we had a spike of electric current spike in the there. It could be because the bearing got jammed and motor got burned. It could be because something else. So you list down two, three, four hypotheses. but we don't go ahead until we have proven or disproven this hypothesis. In YY, the idea is one of these things which is actual reality we need to find out. So we do experiment, we check the log of electricity, go utilities, we see the viscosity of fuel, we go and see if the bearing is really the problem. We
Mhm.
do some experiment. And then we say, okay, now why did the bearing fail?
Yeah.
If the bearing was the reason, because it is worn out, because it has some particles inside it, because it is was bad quality, design was right. So all those hypotheses, and then we go and do experiment to prove or disprove that hypothesis. So
Mhm.
it is meant to be a learning exercise. After you have done one viva analysis, you come up as a very learned man in that field area. Not only you, but the whole organization believes. And if
Or
you
maybe the
do,
CFT who's working. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
means if you do many, many times, the
Hmm.
whole organization improves.
Yeah.
And that's how you create excellence. And this is in every sphere of life, even in your personal life. Because
Then,
jumping to conclusion might be very erroneous. Hmm.
but then why it is stopping? Like, no, I'm doing audit now for more than 21 years, and I also see the same thing that in majority of the cases when we are doing, like you talked about, one of the scientific approaches, viva analysis, and many of the companies are doing it. But in majority of the cases, by looking at the document, you know that it is just
Yeah.
to fill up something because there is a requirement, and without that, maybe the organization will not accept, or maybe the customer will not accept, and that's why it has been done. So what to
Yeah.
do means, what is the next step to come out of it? Because we
Yes.
also need to think about the possible solutions.
The
This is a
solution
problem. We
is
agree. Yeah.
we need to see in Western countries now already scientific thinking is being taught to teachers in the schools, students to understand, go beyond what is coming as perception to their mind, challenging the status quo, defining the new, what else could be the reason. So it is starting from that coaching uh, from the kindergarten till all these next steps, really creating that new way of thinking. But for
Mhm.
us, where this has passed and we are still very not in that situation, the organizations have to take lead to teach the basic, not just focus on tool and results, but focus on the foundations, the thinking behind that. In last episode, you talked about principles and principles,
Yeah.
thinking. These are the foundational things about making improvements and leading change in any organization. So until we really attack that thinking, mindset, behaviors of the people in there, all the tools and system will not work. To give you an example, just 1 minute, uh, uh, what we call this as an operating system of our organization. Now imagine an operating system of our laptops and computers. If it is still old XP, Window XP, and we try to run Excel 2024 on this, or a Windows or a 360 Office 360 on this, how will it work?
Yeah.
Now, the problem is not with the Office 360 applications. The problem is with the operating system of the plant. That is
Yeah.
where need to change. And the operating system is the set of values, principles, behaviors, thinking, mindsets of the people which are there. Until we attack that, all these beautiful tools which can give you very good results will still remain very underutilized
Mhm.
and sometimes wrongly utilized, giving you an impression of excellence where you are just not there anyway.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
is the real thing. Means, and we need real leaders to teach this, understand, first study, lead, and teach. Once they understand and do that, and then they become the organization become, we will see a very big change in our manufacturing in India, I would guess.
I think first step before we close, you can suggest that how organization can think about starting that thought process, because people think that whatever they are doing is right, things are happening, business is going, everything is happening.
I will tell you a little episode. Means most we do consulting, and you also know in this business, many times the bosses or the owners or the vice president will come and tell Rajinder ji, my problem is that most people are coming with lot of problems to me. Everything is coming to me,
Hmm.
and how do I? I don't have accountability of the people. People are not thinking, and very straight answer which annoys many of the people is that they come for answer to you because you give answers. The leader is not. I am telling you, I can say the knowledgeable person is somebody who knows the answers, but a wise person is somebody who knows the questions.
Mm.
It's not easy to ask the questions. Means you are sitting in a position, you are much more difficult to find questions to ask than giving answers. Asking questions is not easy. The teachers, the leaders, the managers have to understand that they have to give questions to the people so that they can go and find answers. Stop giving answers. Stop believing that you are know it all.
Yeah.
Understand that not knowing is a source of learning, which we all have to do, is as good as knowing. We cannot, in this complex world where things are changing, where variables are interacting so difficultly, everything is moving in a complex way, we cannot have answers to everything. So stop doing that. It's okay. And once you start creating an awareness where saying I don't know is acceptable, and then encouraging people to go and find, how will you find, and then coach them, mentor them to be able to sort of define what is the next step they are going to work on, how will they overcome the obstacles, how are they going to be there.
Mhm.
That is very, very important. And that will make a change in the organizations. Slowly, but definitely, I would say. And not only organization, I'm telling in families. And once you change families, the country will change. That's my that's my thinking. We cannot hear you. We cannot hear your.
Okay, maybe some connectivity issue. Is it
Yeah.
okay
Now,
now?
yes.
Okay. So I think we should end on this note because you touched upon a very interesting aspect. Even though we started talking with respect to scientific thinking for excellence, but then the idea is not about the tools because it is very easy to understand about the tools, but then why these tools are important, why scientific thinking is important, why it is important to have a different mindset, and why to ask the right questions rather than giving the answers. I think it's a very good takeaway for me as well as for anyone who is listening at this moment. Thank you very much, Mr. Singh. Thank you very much. Thanks
Thank
a
you
lot.
very much. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot.